tonight to talk about it is political strategist Rina, who's also been part of the anti-Trump wing of the Republican Party. Rina, it's been a battle, and so let's see where it goes. We know that Donald Trump, he's 77. Mitch McConnell is 81. Is there concern about who leads the party and where they lead it in 2024 and beyond?
Good evening, Chance. Let's not forget about our oldest president on record, right? Joe Biden. He is serving this term now at 80 years old, and Donald Trump is not far behind him. That's something that doesn't get talked about a lot. Because look, the reality is this: America loves a
Okay.
strong man, one that looks visually strong, right? And when we look at our leaders, the first measure of a person not being visually strong is when they have moments like what we saw with McConnell. Very clearly
Hmm.
put, it looked like maybe it was health related at first because we know his recent health history. But also, these could just be senior moments related to aging. Dianne Feinstein today in that committee hearing having to be told not only by a colleague to her left, but having a staffer rush to her right. We really have to, at some point, start to look at the cognitive abilities of our leaders. Who are we electing to represent us, and why are we doing that? Simply put, we allow these people who are far past retirement age to be in Congress because we have a system that really not just rewards
Mm.
the incumbent, but helps keep them in power.
Which, in fairness, to be physically infirm is one thing. Mental acuity can be apart from that. And if you're able to mentally do the job of Supreme Court justice, president, senator, congressman, if they get reelected, that's the rules. But I want to talk about Republicans, though, because for now, Democrats do have their leader, and he says he's running again. Republicans could recapture the Senate. McConnell would be majority leader in that case, but next year, Montana, West Virginia, those could be, taken. McConnell brushed off questions about, did he see a doctor, this freezing and falling episode, who will succeed him? Who do you see as the most likely person to lead the party?
Well, one person we see on the Senate side quite a bit is Senator Thune, and Thune is quite a bit younger to McConnell. I can't recall his exact age, but he's been in leadership for a long time, and he's somebody that again doesn't look as old as his colleagues. Another senator is also Senator Joni Ernst. These are people that have frequently been at
Hmm.
McConnell's side at these conferences. They again are in Senate Republican leadership, so I would think that at least for the short term that McConnell would be asking his aides to have conversation with Ernst and Thune at least to make them more visible in the party right now. For Republicans, leadership is a tough question because it's very much been a wait your turn game. Look at Speaker
Yeah.
McCarthy in the House. He's been such a long time member for decades almost. I can say it's been about 15 years that I personally have witnessed him wanting the speakership. So I
Hmm.
have to say this though, taking a step back, we have to think about Gen Z because Gen Z really delivered the White House for Joe Biden. But I don't see Republicans really even paying lip service to Gen Z. So we sit in this
Hmm.
moment where it looks like one party caters to one demographic and the other one ignores it largely.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Republicans, they've been struggling in the last few elections with women, but they're gaining over minority men in some cases. So that's an interesting thing. I guess in the background of all of this, not only is Mitch McConnell having some health problems, it seems, but I mean, Donald Trump, he might win the presidency, but he also could be facing time in prison. We don't know at this point. So if you're looking at this realistically, is the GOP agenda affected? And I'm talking about judicial confirmations, tax and regulatory reform, things like that, without Mitch McConnell pretty deftly and aggressively driving the bus.
It does get tough to envision sort of how the both caucuses in the Congress move forward without these sort of big men. McConnell is a guy that no matter what he's going through health wise right now, people see him as a giant. He's not just process oriented; he's just somebody that has that experience and that know how that nobody has been able to really hold a candle to. Again, I mentioned a couple people that I think it could be heir apparents, Thune and Ernst, maybe even Capito of West Virginia. And then relationships. What it really comes down to, I mean, McConnell and Biden have a very solid relationship that is decades
Mhm.
old. But I think what we have to acknowledge here is this moment in which so many Americans, I feel like their leaders just don't represent them. Pew Research has said from coast to coast, the average retirement age is somewhere between 61 and 67. And these people are still running for a reelection coming at the end of the 70s and into their
Mhm.
80s. We've got to reconsider what is leaving an entire demographic, not just
Mm.
Gen Z, but also elder millennials like me, away from the table and not able to have a say in the
Yeah.
process of who's
I
leading
mean,
our caucuses at the highest level of government.
that is that question. Should you age out, or does with age come wisdom and you become better leaders? I guess that's the push pull. Rina Shaw, really interesting analysis. Thank you. And coming up next,